The sixth floor. A new city, a new job, a fresh start. Everything was going just right for Emily. She had just graduated from college and finally moved into an apartment where she could live on her own. The building was in an old, quiet neighborhood, 6 stories tall, worn down by time, but the top floor unit was spacious and surprisingly affordable. What no one told her was that no one ever wanted to live on the 6th floor. Emily was exhausted her first night. She barely managed to unpack a few things before collapsing into bed. The cool night breeze coming through the window was comforting, until she was startled by footsteps from the floor above. Heavy footsteps, slow, measured. Then came the sound of something being dragged back and forth over and over, as if someone was walking in a memorized path. But Emily lived on the top floor. There was no floor above her. She told herself it was an old building. Maybe the sounds echoed strangely. But at around 3 a.m., the footsteps returned. This time, they came all the way to her front door and stopped. Emily held her breath. There was no knock, but she could see the shadow under the door, a clear silhouette. Someone or something was definitely standing there. She didn't open the door, and the shadow didn't leave until sunrise. Day 2. The next morning, she ran into the old lady from the first floor, a neighbor named Mrs. Hargrove. Emily decided to ask, "Ma'am, is there someone living upstairs? I heard noises last night." The old woman's face twisted with concern. "There's no one upstairs, dear ... and there shouldn't be. Nobody lasts long on that floor." "Why?" Mrs. Hargrove leaned in and lowered her voice. "Because someone lives there, but not someone who's alive." Emily's stomach dropped. She forced a laugh, but Mrs. Hargrove was deadly serious. Back in 1987, a girl moved in just like you, young, alone. One morning, neighbors heard screaming. Police broke in ... They found the girl nailed to the wall with her bare hands. Like something had pinned her there, her eyes were missing. Emily stood frozen ... Since that day, no one's been able to stay in that apartment for long. They all say the same thing. She's still there, and she's waiting for someone new. Emily didn't want to believe the story, but the whispering at night, the shadow in front of her door, the flickers of a short, eyeless figure in her mirror, they were becoming impossible to ignore. Final night. By the 3rd night, Emily was desperate. She lit candles, whispered prayers, anything for peace. The power was out. Her phone had no signal. She was completely alone. At exactly 3 a.m., the footsteps returned, but now the whispers came too. "I'm here. Open the door. I want your face." Emily screamed, shoving a blanket under the door, but something outside started scratching at the wood, like fingernails digging in. Then suddenly the mirror shattered. ... She turned. Among the shards, she saw a face with no eyes, no lips, no skin, but the voice rang out loud and clear. "Now it's your turn ... This is no longer your home." Emily ran to the door. It wouldn't open. The windows were barred, the candle snuffed out. Darkness swallowed the apartment whole ... No one ever heard from her again. The end. A week later, the building manager called the police. The apartment was empty. All of Emily's belongings were still there, but on the wall, written in dried blood, there was just one sentence: "I'm the new owner of the 6th floor."